Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Star Nation's organization's main fan page. I say that every day, but it's true. Welcome to our main fan page here at Facebook, where I do the daily live stream. And it's a spiritual conversation, really, about the divination cards that I have drawn in the morning. And so we have a discussion about it. We share and we share about our personal lives, what's going on and that sort of thing. So welcome. Today is Saturday, January 12th. 12th, right? It's the 12th. I gotta look. Yes, it's the 12th. And here in Toma, Wisconsin, where I live, and broadcasting from Star Nations Academy, which is on the same property as my home. It's about not quite a block from my house and to the west. So welcome. It's a cloudy day here. It's not that bad really for a cloudy day. It's kind of mild. We're in the 30s, and for Wisconsin, that's kind of balmy weather. Yeah. Hey, Rochelle is here. Hello, Rochelle. It's good to see you in the chat. I know that you've been busy with family stuff and artistic stuff, and so it's good to have you back with us. I appreciate that. And Julie's here too. Julie Shumway Hill. Hello. It's good to see you in the chat, Julie. We are, can you believe it? January 12th. We're almost halfway through the month already. It just felt like we just played the trivia game, Star Nations Trivia. That was on New Year's, and here we are on the 12th of January. Rochelle says, my blood pressure is way, way high. It is. Do you take medication for your blood pressure? Or do you take care of it through your diet? Or, lots of things going on with that, huh? Well, we certainly can say a prayer for you, right, Rochelle? We can send you some good juju, as they say, to help you to regulate your body to regulate your blood pressure in a normal range, in an optimal healthy range. Yeah, we could do that. Well, it sounds like you're having quite a day there, because if you've thrown up, it sounds like you're maybe you should be in bed instead of watching the show, actually. Yeah. Oh, it was last night and through meds. Okay, well, if you're on meds and you still have really high blood pressure, maybe you should be calling a nurse and asking them what needs to be done, because you certainly don't want to stress your body even more with the high blood pressure. Call your nurse. Hey, Tina. Tina's here too. Good to have you here, Tina. Good to see you in the chat. All right. So, my suggestion, Rochelle, is to call your nurse. There must be a on-call nurse on the weekends, and let them know what's going on, right? Because you're still in recovery. That's what I would do. Yeah. Yeah, and Tina's saying maybe it's a stomach flu, and it could very well be. Maybe it doesn't have anything to do with your surgery. It could very well be you have the flu. At any rate, your blood pressure is the one that is the most important one right now. And if it's way, way high, then you need to, and you're on medication, you should be contacting a medical person for that. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to like and share the broadcast. Our usual, right? Our usual thing in the afternoon. And I see some people already shared. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate that. But I'm going to share it to my timeline. And got to find us first. There we are. There he is. Okay, we're going to share that. And share it to my newsfeed and let my friends know that I'm live streaming. Right now. and please join. There we go. There, that's done. All right. Thanks for sharing, guys. I appreciate it. I explain this almost during every show that I broadcast, is the reason why we ask you to like, share, and comment, actually. The broadcast, the live streams, it's so that we can help the live stream be in the news feed a little bit more. Yeah, one of the things we know about Facebook that seems to be consistent anyway, because they change all the time, is that it really likes and it likes shares and it likes comments. And so we're rewarded to be put into the news feed by doing that. But on an energetic, spiritual piece of it is if you're a light worker or an energy worker and you feel that the information that's shared could be important to somebody that you know, or you would like to help other souls find Star Nations a little bit easier, that's a nice thing, right? I kind of say that it's a light worker, energy worker, civic duty. And that is to share the kind of shows that we have, or any show that's spiritual that you enjoy and that you support, right? So, yeah, there we go. Excellent. All right, I'm going to put my phone to the side so that, just in case, you never know, Be Live has had issues with our comments, and so I like to try to keep track of you guys. All right, let's see who all's here. Tina was the last one to have a comment, and yeah, hey, Andrea's here too. Hello, Andrea. Good to see you in the chat. Always good to see you guys. And thank you, Rochelle. Rochelle said she shared. Thank you, I appreciate it. And I see, well, there's a couple of people who haven't made a comment that I see they're in the house. Stephanie's here. Good to always have you here, Stephanie. She's quite a help, isn't she? And Rob is here too. Hello, Rob. Yeah, that's good. Good stuff. All right. So, what's going on here at Star Nations? We published on the 10th. And it's always kind of like, it gets much easier the day or two after, right? Because usually I'm very concentrated, very focused on the magazine from, I would say, like the 28th of the month until we publish. And the closer we get to the publishing day, the more focused I am. Because there's certain bits and pieces that have to fall into place, right? And so, so the day or two after, it feels less hectic, less stressful in a way, even though I enjoy putting the magazine together and working with the contributing writers and with the layout specialists, and I enjoy all of that. I enjoy the creative process. But when it comes to the actual publishing, there's some stress to it. There's no getting around it, right? I just make sure that I'm grounded and I'm hydrated, and I wish I could say well rested. That's not the case. But and I try not to do too much caffeine because it just makes it more jittery, right? So anyway, today is Saturday, and it's just kind of a mellow kind of day, really. Getting caught up on things. Yesterday was all about telephone calls, returning telephone calls and handling issues that came up that I couldn't handle 3 or 4 days ago. So just getting caught up. And so it's always good, don't you think, is when you have your list. And it's not like I do it sequentially. I have things that are important that I need to pay attention to and to get done. And so I have the list. And so I start crossing things off. That's such a good feeling, isn't it? And like I said, it's not numbered at all. It's just whichever one Spirit says, okay, now work on that one because that one needs to get done. Or I look at it and I think, you know what? They've been waiting for me for quite a long time. I think I better do that one right now. All right. So I hope you're having a good day, a good Saturday, the weekend. Today's card draw, like I said, it was pretty mellow. George is doing really well, and so he was very cooperative today. Oh, I got to tell you this story. I wish I could have gotten a picture of this because I would have loved to show it to you. There's certain stuffed toys that he takes outside, and there's certain ones that he can't take outside, right? And he has this little bunny stuffed toy, Whoopi, right? And it really shouldn't go outside. And we were out on the Four Seasons porch, and I thought he was going to be going out, and instead he started, chewing on something else. And so I took a look to my left out the door window, and I saw the bunny. We call him Dirty Bunny because he's now very dirty. And so I'm looking at him going, he can't be out there. What's he doing out there? And I'm talking to George. And I said, George, you took him out there. You have to go and get him and bring him back in. Right? I'm telling him, that, and I brought him over by me and I'm pointing at the dirty bunny and talking to him about it. And so I opened the door and I said, okay, go get the dirty bunny and bring him in. And, he went out onto the little deck and he stood there for a little bit. And so I closed my eyes and I saw it. I saw him going to the dirty bunny, picking him up and bringing him back in. And when I opened my eyes, he was walking toward Dirty Bunny. He picked up Dirty Bunny and he got maybe not quite a halfway back and he stopped. And he's looking around and I could see he wanted to go run someplace else, right? And so I'm calling him and I had treats in my hand. He turned around and looked at me and he looked happy. He started running toward me and through the door and he turned around and he came back to me and dropped Dirty Bunny at my feet. And I don't know. I was a proud furry mom at that moment. It's like, yay, you're such a smart little boy, and so Dirty Bunny got saved. Yep, got saved, and now he's safely back in the house. Just a little George story. Oh, let's see. What's Stephanie saying? She's saying, and when the tech tools go sideways, promoting the magazine gets crazier. I know. I don't know what was going on was it Thursday? Thursday or Friday, I don't remember. Let's see, today's Saturday. Maybe it was Thursday. No, it was Thursday. Yeah, and it's not, and it wasn't really anything that I could do from my side of things. Everything that was going sideways was on iTunes side, was going sideways. And so it's like, it's a test in patience, okay? They want me to do this next step. Okay, I tried that. Next, I try this, and I tried that. And it still wasn't working what we needed to get done. And publishing was no problem. Publishing was fine. It was uploading images to iTunes. And so to promote the magazine. And so, yeah, exactly, Stephanie, exactly. Yeah. Tina, I love your stories. I know, especially the George stories, right? All right. So anyway, here is the first card that came today. First card. We've had this one before, actually several times. Direction Guardian. And it says, choose your path. And the card, what's depicted here, is the four directions that's held by the energies of these animals that came to, was it Ezekiel? I think it was. That's the way the story goes. So in the south, we have the eagle, and in the east, we have the lion, and in the west, the ox, and in the north, the angel, right? Yeah, and in the center, they have a compass, which kind of to me looks like a medicine wheel showing the crosswinds. That's what it looks like to me. Yeah. And of course, I always point out the tetrahedrons up in the upper corners there, just underneath the angel wings. We have a tetrahedron with the apex, the point pointing down, and one with the apex pointing up. Tetrahedrons are triangles, sacred geometry. It's one of the 5 platonic solids, and the tetrahedron represents fire. Fire. And the tetrahedron that has the apex pointing down, that's known as the female tetrahedron, and the other one, this one, with the apex pointing up, is the male energy tetrahedron. So when you put them together, they create the star tetrahedron, and it brings the balance of the male and female energies. One of the many things it does. So with this, the card, the way they have it drawn, Lily Moses has it depicted for the Direction Guardian. To me, it's about having balance. When you're in balance, it's so much easier to make decisions. So much easier to make decisions. Yeah. And when we're grounded, which reminds me, it's a good time to ask, isn't it? Good time to ask. Who's grounded today? Who did their grounding? Sorry about that. I have a client trying to get a hold of me. Yeah. So who grounded today? Who remembered? And if it's okay, just checking in. If you didn't, that's all right. Just, a gentle reminder to do your grounding. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to call that lady back after the broadcast. Seems she's really trying to get a hold of me. And so with the Direction Guardian, this is the one that when we call on the Direction Guardian, the energy of that spirit, very helpful when we have to make decisions. It's picking a direction to go in. Sometimes it's a physical direction, which path to take. Sometimes it is a spiritual decision or a mental decision, an emotional decision. What decision to make, which way to go, right? And they can help us to discern what is good for us. And the way that the author, Kyle Gray, depicts this is that to choose the path that makes your heart and soul sing. Choose the path that makes your heart and soul sing. And sometimes when we have that choice, I think sometimes our mental mind kind of gets in the way, because then we start doing the pros and the cons, right? The pros and the cons. And that's okay. That's okay. But sometimes we get stuck in it. We start bouncing back and forth. Yeah, but if I do that, yeah, but those Easter yeah buts. That's what my brother used to call them. Stephanie is grounded this morning. Need to ground again. Yeah, sometimes depending on what's going on, right? And also because it lasts about 12 hours, depending on what you've ingested, not just in food or drink, but also in what you're listening to and what you're watching. So if you feel like it's like you're not quite stable or balanced, is to go ahead and do the grounding again. And sometimes we get a shock, and if we get a shock, then it's good to ground again. Julie said, I grounded today. I've made it a daily morning ritual. Need to work on an evening morning ritual. Oh, good for you, Julie. Excellent. I've always found when I'm starting something new like that, is pairing it with something that I'm already doing, So like in the mornings, when you're doing your bathing ritual, when you're brushing your teeth or taking your shower, or something like that, or when you're brewing, you're going to brew your first cup of tea or coffee, is to sit down with that and before you start drinking it, and in that moment to be able to do that connection to spirit and do the grounding. And for me, in the evening, it was again, the bedtime ritual. Yeah, is taking a few moments to do that grounding, pairing it up with something I was already doing. That way, I remembered, because it's easy to forget. It is, even though you really want to do it, forgetting sometimes happens, right? Yeah. And so, okay, going back to the Direction Guardian, for those who just joined us, this is the first card, Direction Guardian. And it says, choose your path, choose your path. And so, I was saying that we're, Kyle, the author, Kyle Gray, he says, to choose what makes your heart and soul sing. And I was saying that yes, absolutely. But sometimes I think that our mental mind kind of gets in the way and comes up with all the things that won't let it happen, right? And I'm sure you guys could fill in that blank because we've all been through that, right? You really want to be the artist. I was looking at somebody that's in, I don't know if she said anything here. Christine. One of my sisters is in the house, Christine. I'm so glad you're here, Christine. It always makes me happy when I see my sisters in the chat. And if it's okay, Christine, I'm going to share a little bit. It touches on, hey, Andrea grounded too. Yay. Yay. And she's saying that card just made me realize that, oops, I got to scroll down a little bit. That I know what direction I want to go, but I need to get more specific on the path to get there. Yes. Yep. And sometimes it does take just a little bit, doesn't it? Yeah, because, and it should, especially if it's one of those big life kind of changing decisions. And so when you have the opportunity to choose differently, to choose a different path, right? Because our paths aren't necessarily written in stone, we can change them anytime we want. Sometimes it takes a while to get all the changes through. And sometimes we have to wait in that divine timing for things to occur, right? But when we're choosing a path that makes our heart and soul sing, and it's a path that we've been told by either a parent or a loved one or somebody that we respect, that's not a good path for you because you're not going to make enough money at it. You won't be able to support yourself. Or that's frivolous. And so they basically let you know that's not a good decision. And so you tend to listen to what they say, right? When your soul is saying, yes, let's do this. This is what we're meant to do, is to use our gifts. And so, and sometimes one of those paths are our creativity, being that artist, being that writer, being, that musician, right? Yeah, and so we either don't do it or we're timid about it, and we don't really apply our whole being into it, and so it turns into less than a hobby. Although we enjoy doing it, and we have fun when we're in it, but sometimes it ends up being the last thing on the list that we allow ourselves to participate in, right? So sometimes that decision to choose the path that makes your heart and soul sing is a bit of a challenge. And you know what? That's still okay. That's what I think anyway. That's what I feel. It's still okay because you're growing. That soul growth around that. it almost forces us to look at, to focus on what's stopping us. And so sometimes it is, reevaluating those belief systems. Sometimes it is maybe having to take some courses, study. Sometimes it is, maybe having to get a part-time job in order to make sure the rent is paid, the electricity's on, and that's okay. It's okay. It's one of the things that Kyle writes about this card is that there's no wrong path. There's no wrong path. That if you choose a particular path, you're choosing a particular life lessons and experiences along that path, right? Doesn't make it wrong. Maybe you're choosing the path that's more rustic road than the path that is the superhighway, right? Both are good. It just depends on what kind of experiences you want along the way. Yeah, and Julie is saying that exactly where I am coming from and trying to overcome. Yeah, I totally get that, Julie. I really do. I remember way back when, I had just finished my master's degree. That was in 1999. And I was working for the state of Wisconsin. And, I was kind of, a good word would probably be called aimless. I was wandering around aimlessly. I was still going to work and I was still cleaning the house and feeding the dog and all that. But I didn't have any goals, And so I remember one day I was sitting out on the deck and Ginger was with, no, did we have Ginger? No, we didn't. We were between dogs at the time. I was sitting out on the deck and I was thinking, why do I feel like this? What? And I realized in that moment that my list of goals and things I wanted to accomplish back in 1986, I had completed. With graduating with my master's degree, it was the last item to cross off that list. And so other than the mundane, going to bed, getting up, eating, going to work, I wasn't working toward anything else. And right along that same time frame, Paul, my husband, he was in the National Guard at the time. It came up that he had to do his advanced officers training back down in Oklahoma. And I said, I'm going with you. He was going to be gone for like 6 months or something like that. And so I took a sabbatical from work and I went with him. And I walked, and when I got there, I did a lot of walking. I walked around the golf course. They had a track around the golf course. And I remember one morning, I was watching other walkers, and other walkers had their headphones plugged in, and they were listening to music or whatever, but they weren't paying attention to what was going on around them. And here I am, enthralled with the birds, the scissor tails down there, and I was walking along, and I kept feeling like I was finished, that completion and what's next kind of thing. And I realized that because I was even kind of stalled in my state job, I felt like I was just a bookmark. And so, and in that contemplation, walking around in an oblong circle kind of thing for days on end, I came to realization that I felt like I was retired. is this what people feel like when they're retired? And because I really started working when I was quite young, as a performer. And so at that time, I would have had like 20 something years in employed, and so socially, that belief system of when you retire is after 20 years, you get the gold watch thing, right? And so here I was, and it's like, oh, so what's next? What's next? That's when I decided, and I had already read the book, Sacred Space by Denise Linn. I had checked out her certification course for space clearing and feng shui. I had already started studying on my own about feng shui, and I made the decision on that track that day that that's what I was going to do. It felt right. So picking the path, and it wasn't, I went down part-time at work, and people were telling me, you're crazy, you're losing some of your seniority, and what are you going to do for retirement, and all of that. Yeah. And about a year later, the people were telling me, you did the smartest thing. Because I was actually leaving, because my business was I was making more of an income in my business than I was at the work. So, yeah. So those decisions sometimes can be challenging because it makes us stretch. It makes us stretch in our belief systems. It makes us stretch in our trust in ourselves, and taking that leap of faith, right? And that, for me, that leap of faith was not anything outside of myself. It was that leap of faith into myself, and having faith in myself, and to be able to take on the I was going to call it armor, to take that on, to really, because it was a gauntlet for me. It was, really testing those belief systems coming from a Native American culture. And so that was a family gauntlet, and it was also a social gauntlet, because a lot of my friends at that time, I had a lot of friends in both worlds, both non New Agey and New Agey. And so, it was like coming out of the New Agey closet. And so it stretched me. And looking back at that now, it was good. It was good. I did the best I could with the information and the circumstances that I was in. And so I made the decision to start my own business back. And I think we came back in 2000, we left in March of 2000, and we got back in, it must have been August. I remember it being in the summertime anyway, we got back, and that's when I decided to start my own business. Tina says, I just found my direction. It involves 3 aspects. It does. How exciting. That is really exciting, Tina. Do you feel it? Do you feel the excitement? Yeah, to me, that's very exciting. Of course, I like the adrenaline of new stuff, new projects. Julie says, I love Denise Linn. Yeah, she's a great writer, teacher. I outgrew her, though. She is exactly what I needed in the time that I needed. And then I outgrew her, which is a good thing too. Now she's the teacher that said to all of us, not just me, all of us, that as a spiritual teacher, that when your student surpasses you, that's a good place to be in. Okay, that was rhetoric, because she didn't. So there's many of us who did, and it was hard on her ego, and I think that's when I really realized that, what, we're just all people, we're just all two-leggeds, And if we're using our gifts and applying them in a good way, then we're happy. Then we can be joyful for each other, right? Yeah, that's what I learned. Yeah, and so Tina's saying yes, she can feel the excitement. That's exciting. Yeah, so hey, we're cheering you on, Tina. We're cheering you on. Whatever it is, and whenever you're ready to share, I look forward to that sharing, whatever that is. Hey, Violet's here. Hey, Violet, good to see you. Good to have you here. That body butter is one of my favorites so far. I haven't tried the sugar scrub yet, but the body butter was really good. All right, so for those who just joined, this is the first card, Direction Guardian, and that is about choosing your path. Choosing your path. And so we're talking about we've gotten this card so often that I kind of know it by memory. But there was a piece in here that kind of jumped out this morning at me when I reread the information. It's about your path isn't set in stone, and your angels and guides have no expectations for you, nor should you have any for yourself. There are many directions you can take. None of them are wrong, as they all hold perfect opportunities to grow and to learn. Life is to be enjoyed and savored. So if you know that there's a decision to be made, and particularly if you are feeling indecisive, choose the path you know is going to make you light up. Choose the path that's going to make you light up. And to me, that means that you're choosing to use your gifts. And your soul is what is lighting up. It's coming through. It's shining through, right? And you can't help but to shine. Because technically, we're all shining right now. Even though you might not think that you know what your gifts are, even though you might not believe that you're using your gifts, because you're here right now, your soul is still shining. It may have a cover over it, and we've talked about this before, about the hymn about this little light of mine. We've actually sung it together before when we first started doing this live stream. And so not covering up your light, meaning that you are using your gifts. What makes you feel joyful and happy, satisfied, right? Even though, you might have what you felt is a mistake, and you feel like, oh man, why did I do that? I should have done it this way. I should have done it that way, and you start kind of beating yourself up over it a bit, right? Even when you do that, you're still shining. You're still shining because you took that step. You had the courage to take that step, even though it's a baby step. It's okay. It still take courage to do that and to step into your power, into your medicine when you're using your gifts. That's what we do. We step into our power, into our medicine when we apply our gifts and we use them. Yeah. Yeah. And that feeling of satisfaction when you step back and you look at whatever it is that you use your gifts to do or to create, and you stand back and you think, oh man, I really like that. Or, if your gift is to a service to other people, whether it's a counseling or space clearing or Reiki or whatever it is, and that person or people that you assisted, and they come back to you and they say, oh, you know what? After I saw you, I had this shift. I could feel the healing, or the pain went away, or whatever. There's a part of you, that says, oh, that feels good that I actually got to help somebody. I really actually help somebody and in a good way. And you feel good, right? Okay, so this is the second card. Elder. Elder. Gotta check the time. Okay, got plenty of time. Elder. And this one says, move beyond ancestral patterns. Move beyond ancestral patterns. So when you're choosing your direction, and we've actually had this combination before, like a week ago, a week and a half ago, something like that. It was recent. So in other words, we have to actually kind of sift through our belief systems. We actually have to discern for ourselves what truly supports us and what is a hindrance or an interference. And some of those ancestral patterns may be a support, and so you keep them, right? And others may be a hindrance or a block. And what if it's a block, then what is it that you need to move? Release, move, let go, right? Yeah. And just a couple things went through my mind. One thing, oh, I got to do that too. It's like I've got a couple things that came from my dad that I've been holding on to after he passed, after he walked on, that aren't meant for me or not. And having to make a decision of what to do with them. Yeah. And there's at least one of them has a really strong belief system around, and that's a War Bonnett. Yeah. And in hindsight, what I should have done was used my voice and had the War Bonnett buried with him. Yeah. It would have been a bit contentious. And looking back at that, and bringing it back into today, in this moment, is using my voice and having a conversation with my mother, and making a decision of what to do with the War Bonnett, because culturally, I can't wear it. It's one of those belief systems in the tribe that I'm from, the nation that I am from. Now, there's other nations, tribal nations, where women can and are allowed to wear War Bonnets. Mine doesn't. This happens to be not to be one of them. But so there's one that I have to face and say, okay, let's deal with this one, right? There's a whole story with that, I'm sure. When we're done with it and whatever happens with it, there's going to be a story to that one. I guarantee. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the Elder. This is one of my favorite cards, actually. I like the Aboriginal feel to it, the ancientness of it, right? And if you look at him, if you look at his face, to me, sometimes when I first looked at the card, it's like, oh, he's kind of content and happy, And then again, if you look at his eyes, kind of serious too. But we all have something from our ancestors that is very, very helpful. The wisdom that they passed down to us, extremely helpful. And we also have those things that are not helpful or supportive. And we all have healings to do around our ancestral traumas, right? We all do. And when we do that kind of healing, we're helping ourselves, of course, but we're also helping our ancestors and our descendants. And so when we pair that up with the direction guardian, I believe that has to do with the elder saying, you know, you get to choose your own path. This is your life. We can add to it with the wisdom that we carry, but you know, to discern for yourself what is helpful and what is a hindrance. And let go of the hindrance. Let it go. And it also brings up, for me, it brings up what is tradition? What is tradition? What is traditional? And for somebody who grows up in an indigenous culture, that can be another contention. That can be a very divisive situation. You know? Yeah. I don't know. And maybe it's not just indigenous either. Maybe it is across the board. Because we all come from indigenous people. We all have ancestors. Oh my goodness. Paul and George are back. It might get a little loud in here for a minute when they come in. Is that what is traditional? I think it comes through our filters, right? And it starts to morph and change as it comes through the filters of each generation. And so sometimes it gets kind of convoluted too. I was just thinking about my grandfather, my Michel. He was the speaker of two big drums, for the dream drum religion. And you know, I experienced ceremonies through that religion, and when he was alive, and I've experienced ceremonies in the more modern time. I would say probably within the last 10 years. And they're different. They're different. They're used, for instance, when we have ghost meals for someone who's walked on, right? When in the more traditional way, we'll put that in quotes, the meal would be set out on the floor. So they would have coverings over the floor, tablecloths and that sort of thing. And that the food in bowls and dishes were placed in the center. And we would have plates and spoons, no forks or knives, and we would come and sit on the floor. And so the helpers would, depending on whose funeral it was, if it was a man's funeral, the men would come and eat first, and then the women and the children, and by age, okay? But we would all sit on the floor in shifts. But the last one I was at, we didn't sit on the floor. The elders all ate first, whether they're male or female. And so it changed, you know. And was it a bad change? No, not necessarily, because for some people it was really difficult to eat on, you know, to sit and then to eat on the floor and then try to get back up. And so that was a change. So what's traditional? And that's just an example. That's just an example. And then I think about before the European contact on this continent, what life was like for the natives here, for the indigenous people here, and what was traditional for them. Before the missionaries came in, to convert to Christianity, right? So that's where it gets contentious. It's a lot of ways to say that the elder, I believe in this particular day with this particular card is saying you have to discern for yourself what is helpful to you, what's supportive, and anything less than that is to let it go. If you have healing to do around it, to do the healing, to do your healing work around it, but to let it go. So with these two cards today, the Direction Guardian and the Elder, helping us, I believe, helping us along to help us make those decisions on our path. Because right now there's several people I know who are going through that. New career choices, having to end a business, and now what do I do? How do I use my gifts now? Why couldn't I keep, going through that grieving process? Yeah. So I have two guys here that are going in and out, in and out. I don't understand. Okay, so I'm going to check the comments here, see if I missed any. I probably did. My phone. Okay. All right. Well, so you get to discern for yourself, right? About your path and about what ancestral what do they call it, patterns support you and what to let go. Our ancestors, they survived a heck of a lot for us to be here, right? For us to be here. Everybody knows the history of Native Americans and what we went through here on our continent, the genocide and all of it. And yet, because my grandparents and great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents, they survived so that I could be here. And so what am I going to do with that gift, right? What am I going to do with it? Decisions to make, discerning to do. And when we're discerning to embrace the fact that it's our higher self that's doing the discerning. It's not our mental mind. It's not our conscious self. It's our higher self. It's that quiet voice, right? Every time I've disregarded that quiet voice, I've been 100% wrong. Yeah, I learned to listen to that voice. And so our higher self is the one that's doing the discerning. We just have to be quiet and listen to it. What's it saying? What part of ourselves is helping us to make that decision? Yeah. All right. I think with these two cards, we're really getting support from Spirit in making that choice of what path, whether it's a physical path, a career, home, maybe selling your house and moving to a different state or a different city, the physical path, or a spiritual path, the emotional path, right? So, whatever was shared today, if it resonated with you, if it felt good to you, my suggestion is to embrace that and see how the energy unfolds for you today and where this information from Spirit is helpful. whether you're a participant directly or if you're witnessing it, because either way, we're learning something, right? It's a good thing. If it didn't resonate with you, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Just let it go. It's all right. Yeah. Tina's saying my direction was going through difficulties, learning and healing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, when we're doing our healing work, which is, it's so important, and it is also a great service, not just to yourself and to your ancestors and descendants, but to humanity, to all our relatives, really. When we focus on our own healing, and so going through it, it can be hard. Yes, it can be such a challenge. It can take you to your knees, but it really is important work to do. And I, just from my own personal experience, we cause ourselves more pain and discomfort when we resist. When our ego resists, that part of us resists. It's so much more comfortable and less painful when we can be in the flow of it rather than resisting it. Oh. Andrea saying, thank you for this message today. Well, you're welcome. Got to thank my spiritual team for helping me with the cards. That's for sure. And so, it's good stuff. It is. Now, I'm just going to take a quick look at the time. We're near the top of the hour. So coming up this week, just as a reminder, we have shows for you, live stream shows that are coming up. Let's see, on Tuesday, which is January 15th, Chakra Sessions with Polyjola Bay. She's talking about our multi-dimensional aura. Gotta slow down. Multi-dimensional aura. Yeah, she says, as we begin to experience our energy system on a multi-dimensional level, our auric field stretches to accommodate the change. So how do we do that and still be in balance, right? Yeah, so that's noon. That's noon on Tuesday Eastern time for Chakra Sessions with Polyjola Bay. And then on Tuesday night is my show, my weekly show, Communications from Home. And that's on at 8 p.m. Eastern. And my guest this week is Maureen Mann. And Maureen is one of our new live stream hosts and also a new contributing writer to the magazine. And so we get to know Maureen a little bit better and find out her connection to the angels and her knowledge about mindfulness and a whole bunch of other stuff too. So I hope you can join Maureen and I on Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then on Wednesday afternoon, we have Nature Adventures with Vinnie Kansman, one of my sisters, and me hosting it. I'm trying to see. We're talking about the earth, the element of earth and centering, right? And tapping into the energies, the spirit of this time of year. And we're going to be talking about the medicine wheel and nature. And so I hope you can join us. That's Wednesday. That's January 16th at 4 p.m. Eastern. Okay. And so that's with Nature Adventures. And then in the evening on Wednesday is Soul Connections with Polyjola Bay. And Soul Connections, is all about healing. The healing meditation, and then after that is the card draw. And so if you enjoy getting a mini reading with the card draws, please join us. She helps us out, her and her team, every week to focus on our own spiritual healing, our own emotional traumas and personal mental traumas, releasing things that need to be released. And so if you're a light worker, an energy worker who put yourself lower on the list of self-care, Wednesday nights for us. And then on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, at Star Nations Academy closed group here at Facebook, we have a free mini class. That mini class is being taught by Polly Dola Bay, and the mini class is about empaths in our chakra system. I had asked Polly Jo if she could come and share some information with us about being an empath, especially for those who just maybe realize that they're an empath or just embracing that gift of an empath, and just some basics and what our chakras can help us with. Okay. I think it's time to go. So thank you for being with me this afternoon. I appreciate it, and appreciate your comments. And we'll see you back here tomorrow, right, for the next live stream and card draw. With that, enjoy the rest of your day. Bama Mina, until we see each other again. Love you guys.